In the rugged highlands of Ethiopia's Amhara region, where jagged peaks pierce the sky and the blue Nile's waters churn, the Buddha haunts moonless nights. This shape-shifting spirit, a human by day with the evil eye, transforms into a hyena at night, exhuming graves to feast on the dead. In the village of Debra Tabor in the 1980s, the Buddha was blamed for a wave of deaths. Farmers found drained of blood, their bodies claw-marked. Elders spoke of Tesfaye, a blacksmith accused of witchcraft, stoned in 1960. His grave, under a sycamore fig, was marked by claw scratches, and his spirit, they said, sought vengeance. The Buddha's eyes glowed like embers, cursing those who met its gaze. Elam, a 17-year-old loner who repaired plows, lived alone in a tukul hut, his parents lost to famine. A quiet boy with calloused hands, he preferred solitude to the village's chatter. His only keepsake was a silver cross from his mother, blessed by a priest. "Never walk alone at night," she'd warned. The Buddha seized the solitary. Elam, skeptical, scoffed, trusting his hammer over tales. But Debra Tabor was restless. Goats vanished, their bones found gnawed, wells smelled of rot, and villagers saw hyena tracks circling huts. Elam's neighbor Yared, a goatherd, swore he'd seen a hyena with human eyes near the sycamore. One chilly night, as crickets fell silent, Elam worked late, hammering a plow under a lantern. A low growl echoed, and his cross burned against his chest. He peered outside, seeing a hyena, its eyes glowing red, staring from the shadows. Heart-pounding, he barred the door, but the growl circled, claws scraping mud walls. Morning found his tools scattered, their handles scratched with claw marks. Shaken, Elam told Yared, who paled. "The Buddha's marked you," he said. That night, the growl returned, louder, joined by a shadow, tall, human-like, with hyena jaws. Elam clutched his cross, chanting prayers, but the shadow lingered, its eyes boring into him. His dreams were haunted, a hyena with Tesfaye's face, digging graves, calling his name. Elam grew gaunt, his repairs sloppy, his eyes bloodshot. Villagers shunned him, fearing his curse. Yared, pitying him, urged him to seek Abuna Gevra, a priest in a cliffside church. Elam trekked through rocky paths, the growl following. Gevra, a frail man with eyes like stars, studied Elam. "The Buddha wants your soul," he said, crafting a scroll of Gizi prayers, sealed with wax. "Offer it at the sycamore." Elam, trembling, waited for dawn when spirits weakened. At the tree the air was thick with rot, claw marks glowing faintly. He placed the scroll, whispering, "Take it, Tesfaye." The ground shook, and a hyena appeared, its jaws dripping, eyes blazing. "You're alone," it growled, lunging. Elam threw the scroll, and it burned, the hyena dissolving in a howl. The growl stopped, and Elam collapsed. Debra Tabor was quiet for months. Elam moved to Gondar, but the sycamore's shadow lingered in his dreams. Villagers avoided, fearing the Buddha's eyes, its hunger eternal for those who walk alone. Word count, 3997. 2. Peru, the Pishtaco's cold blade, Americas. In the misty Andes of Peru, where alpacas graze and the Apurimac River roars, the Pishtaco stalks. This pale, cloaked figure with eyes like frost, steals fat from wanderers, leaving them shriveled. In the 1970s in Ayacucho, the Pishtaco was blamed for missing herders, their bodies found withered, lips blue. Elders told of Diego, a colonial Spaniard who stole indigenous fat for candles, killed by villagers in 1650. His grave, under a ceiba tree, was marked by white stones, and his spirit hunted the greedy. The Pishtaco's blade was cold, its touch draining life. Lucia, a 16-year-old loner who wove alpaca wool, lived in a stone hut, her mother dead from fever. Solitary by nature, she avoided village festivals, her loom her only companion. Her father's Quechua tales warned of the Pishtaco. "Never stray far," he'd said, leaving her a coca leaf charm. Lucia, practical, scoffed, trusting her weaving. But Ayacucho was uneasy, alpacas sickened, streams ran murky, and herders saw a pale figure in the fog. Lucia's friend Mateo, a flute player, swore he'd seen a cloaked man near the ceiba, his knife glinting. One foggy night, weaving by candlelight, Lucia heard a scrape, like metal on stone. Her charm burned, and a shadow loomed outside, tall, pale, eyes like ice. She barred the door, but the scrape circled, cold seeping through cracks. Morning found her wool tangled, stained with white grease. Shaken, she told Mateo, who urged her to avoid the ceiba. But curiosity drew her. At dusk, she trekked to the tree, its stones glowing faintly. A cold wind carried a whisper, "Give me your warmth." She ran, the scrape following. That night, the shadow returned, its knife scraping her window. Lucia's dreams showed a pale man with Diego's face, cutting her flesh. Lucia grew weak, her weaving undone, her eyes sunken. Mateo took her to Dona Ines, a curandera with coca-stained hands. "The Pishtaco wants your essence," she said, crafting a coca and ash effigy. "Offer it at the Ceiba." Lucia, trembling, went at midnight, the fog thick with rot. She placed the effigy, whispering, "Take it, Diego." The ground quaked, and a pale figure appeared, its knife gleaming. "You're alone?" it hissed. Lucia threw the effigy, which burned, the figure dissolving. Ayacucho's fog still hides the Pishtaco, its blade waiting for the solitary.